make some money, stay away from the Pelicans. And you know what? Those Pelicans, Flannel Sam, are on the schedule one more time before the Detroit Pistons wrap up the season. And one of the things that's interesting is looking at the fact that these 38-31 Pistons are going to be favored in at least 5 of their remaining games on the schedule. So they got a good chance in those just by winning your handle your business games to getting to 43 wins, bro. And then if you find a way to wheel a couple more, this team can definitely hit that 46. I don't know how that 51 is looking, man. I see KG over there in the booth, but overall, it's awesome that all of us can be ecstatic about who these Detroit Pistons are because, like you've already stated, they've blown through the expectations, and they're not satisfied. That's why we still see this team going out there and caring. That's why we see the passion this far into the season for a squad that had won 31 games combined the previous 2 seasons.
Yeah.
And now you got a squad that has a good chance to finish the season over 500 and a surefire playoff spot, man. But you know what? A lot of what had kind of underpinned their success before this little bit of a rocky place for them, it returned last night. And sometimes you need to see the ball go through the hoop. Sometimes you need to look at the stat sheet and see, oh, okay, we are back to it. Sometimes you have to. It's like almost like riding a bike. And once you get back to it, once you see it, once you get the good mojo, seeing them after the game, to hey, play the song and all of that, sometimes you need that because them boys were looking frustrated. They don't like the taste of losing, Flannel Sam. So it was dope to see them go out there and just absolutely go to work, man. You got those team stats?
I do. And before I read off the team stats, I just wanted to mention one more thing is that when I talked about this being an important stepping stone game in the maturation and the development of an up-and-coming good team, I meant it in a way of they obviously lost one that you shouldn't lose to Washington.
Yep.
That was I was very disappointed after that game. I know they were as well. I know the players even admitted that or maybe not the players plural, but Isaiah Stewart, I think, as the spokesman, even said maybe we could have taken it a little bit more seriously. And then, of course, we all know what happened in the OKC game at home. A very emotionally charged game. Cade Cunningham got ejected. They still had a chance to win, but SGA did some special things at the end. Just 2 really tough losses, a lot of emotion going into one. But how do they respond?
Players took the responsibility in the post-game press conference.
Absolutely. But the way to respond to that is to just go into a team that's reeling and just beat them like they stole something. And that's exactly what they did, a 46-point win. And now I will read the team stats because they are absolutely beautiful to watch. If you just want to go to field goal percentage, 55%, Pelicans 33. 3-point percentage, Pistons 37, Pelicans 16. Rebounds 50-39. Fast break points. This is a big discrepancy. 23 for the Pistons and 4 for the Pelicans.
That's insane.
And obviously we saw them get quite a few steals and blocks. But what I liked about this game too, especially in the beginning of the game, we all know that the Pelicans missed a lot of shots. I mean, CJ McCollum could have built the yellow brick road with all the bricks that he was putting up. But when the Pistons were getting the rebounds, they would push the ball in transition. They just wanted to boat race this team, and they did. And we're seeing a lot of examples of some transition buckets right there. Some absolutely beautiful ones. That one was fantastic. Schroeder to
Asar's no-look pass was ridiculous to Cade.
Got some guys on this, and that's the thing. You got some guys on this team that you're seeing can really just pass the ball. I think Cade Cunningham is one of the better passers in the entire NBA and is going to continue to grow as that. But Jalen Duren is obviously growing a lot as a playmaker, 6 assists. Asar Thompson can, I think he has that gift, that passing gift that some players do and some players don't. We'll see how often that's utilized in the future, but when it is, he certainly is capable. And Dennis Schroeder as well, 5 assists. We've seen him in multiple games, even in the Thunder game, really be the lead point guard at the end. Just know how to distribute the ball and just be that secondary ball handler. So you love to see that. Multiple players can push it in transition. Multiple players can pass. Just a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful game. And the cherry on the top of all of that when it comes to great passing is the Pistons had 33 assists to the Pelicans 18.
I was waiting. I knew you were setting it up. I was like, my man Flannel cooking. I was like, he missed one stat. And I was like, I see what he's doing.
Hey, no DSR, no look.
Woo!
Go late.
That was sick. Do that one again. Again and again
in transition. That's insane.
But this is what he was doing at overtime elite.
That's what full-time point guards do. That's insane.
They have to find a way to get him.
That's why I say he's got the gift. Some players just don't, and that's okay, by the way. Not everybody has the gift of passing, but Asar, just in a small-ish, well, actually, yeah, in the grand scheme of things, just a very small sample size, you see it. And I want to see it a little bit more because in transition, if he's running the break, it's absolutely deadly. I mean, even if he's not running the break, if he's just one of the rim runners, he's deadly as well. So love to see it.
It's crazy, bro. Like our small forward, is throwing a no-look pass for a dunk to our point guard.
Oh,
like that's what I'm saying. It's like Cade Cunningham like this and the off ball. Adding a Dennis Schroeder, and I can't wait till Jaden Ivey is back in action. But adding a Dennis Schroeder did two things. It added another facilitator, and it added another vet who's used to this type of pressure, who understands these end-of-season situations and moments, who understands playoff basketball. Now, all of a sudden, you have 4 vets on this team who have been in high-pressure stakes games. Yeah. When you talk about Tobias Harris, Tim Hardaway, who just played in a pretty big series last year, Malik Beasley, who played with Giannis, and now a Dennis Schroeder. So you got these young, more mature guys who they're tired of getting punched in the face. They're tired of where Detroit basketball's name has gotten. And they have all locked in to say, let's get it done here. And now you got the right type of vets to be able to step in like Malik Beasley after that last game. All of Detroit was hot. All of Detroit. And he was like, nope, we got to be better. It's on us. I know, like, he must understand, yes, it sucks what's going on, but if he knows the heart and the makeup of his team, then that's why Beasley would step to the table and say, I want more out of these guys. Because the going-to-work Pistons, as much as we talk about their defense, one of the things that really, really, really boosted them is that listen, were they going to get frustrated? Yes, but they did not allow that to take them out of their games. They just turned it up. And that's where I know Beasley believes this team can get. I believe that when Beasley steps to the podium and says, I expect more of our team, including me, he's saying, as much as we fought in this, as much as there was an uphill battle, I still think we could have beat SGA in his 48 points. That, to me, it speaks volumes. And those young guys in that locker room, they hear this type of stuff. They hear it. But Beasley, he talked about the makeup of his core compared to some of the other teams he's been on. And Tobias Harris as well. Tim Hardaway as well. These guys have talked about it. Now you got Dennis Schroeder. They came back after a couple weeks and asked him. He's like, I love it here. Like, I like this. So it's like, you know what? They got such a good mix. And then you got JB Bickerstaff just kind of sprinkling the finishing touches on this thing, man. And it's this is where, when you look at their handle your business games the rest of the way, you really want to see this team go out there and just punch everybody in the face and snag some of those victories that a lot of these other people don't think, because it's still, the jokes are still, some of the underlying national stuff is, well, yeah, cool on the Pistons. They still can't beat nobody of importance. It's like, come on, dog.
Well, and you've got some opportunities. You've got Cleveland at home. A little ways down the road, you've got Memphis at home, you've got the Knicks at home, you've got the Bucks at home. Those aren't necessarily the games that you're referring to where it's like they're going to be favorite.
The Bucks, man.
Yeah, well, and that's the thing. That would be absolutely huge. You certainly don't want to end the year with 2 losses to the Bucks, because I think if that happens, it's a pretty safe bet that the Bucks will be ahead of the Pistons in the standings. But you've got plenty of opportunity, and you're right about what Malik Beasley said. When it comes to the aftermath of the Thunder game, both things can be true. I'm happy that JB Bickerstaff stood up for his guys and called out some of the injustices, but I'm also glad that Malik Beasley was able to highlight some of the ways in which the Pistons could have been better, because with all that went on in that game, all of the injustices, and there were quite a few. Cade should have never been thrown out of the game, for example. That's obviously the most egregious. You also have to understand that the Thunder have the best record in the NBA for a reason. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, even though a lot of you don't like him because of the foul baiting, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is going to win the MVP for a reason, and he was special. He was special on Saturday night. Say what you want. Say what you want. He was special.
Dog, do you understand how, like, we know he's special.
Yeah.
And then to sit there and you're seeing him just sauce your team, bro, it's just like, golly. He was hitting shots on certain angles that he wasn't hitting 2 and 3 years ago, but you knew that he's going to get there one day. And that's where, when I look at like a Cade Cunningham, some of the shots he was missing that game, he cleaned up and was hitting the Pelicans game. And I look forward to him becoming one of those types of players. And his stats are already putting him in their company. Now he just has to have the success, the long-term success, winning games, making it to the All-Star appearances, making All-NBA appearances, and getting your team to having that playoff success as well as being a title contender. These are the things that SGA has helped his team elevate. But beyond that, he got some dogs on defense. And when I look at the Pistons, I see a similar makeup to them. And ironically so, because who had certain things, certain hands to do in the OKC, regimes over certain eras? Troy Weaver.
Yeah.
And so you look at this young core and you realize OKC has gotten here because a lot of those young core pieces have finally developed. And now the Pistons are going to get there because they've been able to have some of this young core develop and put the right mix of vets around them with the right type of tutelage. And I do believe it's going to give them a good opportunity, bro, down the end of this season. You got, 7 games, 7 wins gets you to 45.
7 games gets you to 45, and that's a 500 stretch to end the season. And honestly, maybe I'm being a little bit too greedy at this point. I think I'd be a little bit disappointed with a 7-7 finish.
I think 46 wins is it, man.
Like just with the renewed expectations, which is okay, by the way. And we all understand that in the grand scheme of things, they could go over the rest of the season and make the play-in, and it's still a successful year. But we would all be raising hell because with new information, with new level of play, we're allowed to change our expectations. And just looking at their schedule, I think minimum 8-6, and I can live with it. Anything 7-7 and below, and I'm a little bit disappointed. But then again, at the end of the day, I think even 7-7 or 6-8 or maybe even 5-9 will, at the very worst, get you comfortably into that 6th seed.
Comfortably. And, just sitting here right now, obviously, we wish horribly in everything that.
And Timberwolves, you can't win them all.
They've been in some pretty good. But you know what? Even this close tied at 2, and the Pistons game behind them. And they do move up in the standings. Detroit team, but me, I feel like that's gonna feed.
They're Lions, obviously, all kinds of the Pistons and relevant, so I'm glad at least best connection. I know this city, but Giannis in the best player in the day. We're having so Eddie, there really are,
man. Everyone to take that next step before we move on. Not going to get a lot of fan power rankings and especially Hollins. Impact and realistic more of Ron Holland to the best of his art because I'm like, okay, we're chef and the staff, but shout out to Ron. So got 2 rebounds, 3 helps to start to offense.
He's
Shout out Ron Holland.
Team rookies. He doesn't get the. He saw that firsthand. Actually lost Victor Wembanyama. And but those obviously we know the look at right there. Surprised a lot of us. Those of you who haven't listened that basis is 1.5 steals.
I like what he's. The questions I was able to ask, effectively court right away. What's even if it's not. I'm gonna start reposting and fair, but Detroit now. I know, but this is your fan. He's like, nope. He's talking about, bro. This is what I'm committed. I'm gonna be there repping the social media. Magic for the Lakers for the Instagram because he been as a player, so was like you stated in development to. You know what? That was.
There are many ways. Others are just 15 to 20 minutes season long. About his
LB.
We're very notable profiled and you will know.
Goodness gracious. But this is one of my teams were struggling. really percolating. Get ready